The moment the rich man glanced at the engagement ring on his fiancée's hand, his laughter rang out sharply across the room. "Is this a joke?" he sneered, loud enough for everyone to hear. "This ring, it looks cheap, like something you'd find in a bargain bin." A hush fell over the crowd. The clinking of glasses stopped. Conversations died mid-sentence. All eyes turned to the bride, standing there frozen, her face flushing with embarrassment and hurt. She forced a smile, but I could see the pain behind her eyes, pain no one could hear. The rich man's laughter echoed again, cruel and dismissive. "Honestly, if that's the best you could do, I don't know what I'm even promising myself here." No one knew what to say. Some looked away, uncomfortable. Others exchanged glances that spoke of sympathy for the bride. But no one dared challenge him, not with his wealth and power filling the room like a shadow. Yet, beneath the surface of this humiliating moment, a secret lingered, a secret the bride had carried with her for years, one that, if revealed, would shatter every assumption in that room. It would turn the tables and leave the rich man stunned, powerless. What happened next would change everything. Because sometimes the smallest things, like a ring, hide the biggest truths, and sometimes those truths have the power to rewrite a story nobody expected. The rich man was everything you'd expect from someone born into a life of luxury: tall, impeccably dressed, with a confident smile that rarely reached his eyes. He carried himself like the world owed him something, because in many ways it did. His name was Alexander, but most people just called him Alex. He was used to getting what he wanted: expensive cars, lavish vacations, exclusive parties. He grew up surrounded by wealth, never once worrying about bills or hard work. To him, money was a shield and a weapon. And arrogance, well, that came with the territory. Then there was the bride, the woman he'd chosen to marry. Her name was Emily. She was nothing like Alex, quiet, kind, and humble. Emily grew up in a small town, far from the glittering world Alex lived in. She worked hard every day, juggling 2 jobs to support her family and put herself through school. She wasn't used to fancy things, but she had a strength inside her that no amount of money could buy. Despite their differences, Alex and Emily's paths crossed, and somehow, she captured his attention. Maybe it was her gentle spirit, or the way she never tried to impress anyone. Or maybe it was because she reminded him of a part of himself he'd long forgotten. Tonight, the engagement party was held in one of Alex's family's mansions, a sprawling estate filled with crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and walls lined with expensive art. The kind of place where everyone wore designer clothes and spoke in polished tones. Emily felt out of place in her simple dress, surrounded by guests who whispered about the poor girl Alex had chosen. There was a clear gap between them, one that money and status seemed to deepen every day. But beneath the glittering surface of the party, beneath the judgments and the whispered doubts, Emily held a quiet hope. A hope that love could bridge any divide, no matter how wide. The moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. Alex stood up, clearing his throat with a proud smile. All eyes turned toward him. The music softened, and the chatter died down as he took Emily's hand gently in his. "Emily," he began, his voice loud and confident, "I want to make this official. You're the one I want to spend my life with." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Everyone leaned in, eager to see the ring that a man like Alex would surely offer. He opened it slowly, revealing a dazzling diamond ring, large, glittering, and clearly expensive. "Will you marry me?" he asked, his eyes locked on hers. Emily's heart fluttered. She nodded, barely able to speak. Her smile was soft, nervous, full of hope. She had dreamed of this moment for so long, but as she glanced down at the ring on her finger, her own ring, the one she'd slipped on earlier that day, a small pang of disappointment tugged at her chest. Her ring was modest, simple, not a sparkling diamond, but a delicate silver band with a tiny stone that barely caught the light. It was all she could afford, a gift from her mother, and a reminder of where she came from. Suddenly Alex's face twisted into a cruel smile. He laughed, a harsh mocking sound that cut through the room like a knife. "Is that supposed to be your engagement ring?" he sneered, pointing at her hand. "That little thing. It looks cheap, Pathetic. The room fell silent again, his words echoed harsh and humiliating. Some guests shifted uncomfortably, while others exchanged uneasy smiles, unsure whether to laugh or look away. Emily's cheeks burned with shame, but she refused to let tears show. She swallowed the lump in her throat and kept her gaze steady. She knew she couldn't let his cruelty break her, not here, not now. Alex didn't stop. I mean really, Emily, are you trying to embarrass me? This ring, it looks like it belongs on a kid's finger, not on mine. Whispers spread through the crowd, some whispered sympathy, others judgment. But no one challenged him. No one defended her. Emily's fingers clenched into a fist, but she kept smiling, a quiet, brave smile that hid the storm inside her. She vowed then and there not to give him the satisfaction of seeing her hurt. Because deep down, she knew this moment wasn't the end of her story. Not by a long shot. Emily's life had never been easy. She grew up in a small worn-down house on the edge of town, a place where the paint peeled off the walls and the roof leaked every time it rained. Her parents worked hard, but money was always tight. Some days there wasn't enough food on the table, and nights were often filled with whispered worries about bills and what tomorrow might bring. From a young age, Emily learned the meaning of hard work. She took on odd jobs as a teenager, babysitting neighbors' kids, cleaning houses, and sometimes delivering newspapers before dawn. After school, she'd rush to the local diner to work late shifts, juggling her schoolwork and her jobs as best she could. Her family depended on her, especially after her father fell ill and couldn't work anymore. Emily didn't complain, she simply did what she had to do. Even when she was exhausted, she never let anyone see how tired she really was. Despite all the hardships, Emily had dreams. She dreamed of a better life, not just for herself but for her family. She wanted to go to college, find a steady job, and maybe one day own a home where her family wouldn't have to worry about leaking roofs or empty cupboards. Love was something she had rarely thought about seriously. Life had taught her to focus on survival first, happiness later. But then Alex entered her world. They met by chance at a charity event Alex's company was sponsoring. Emily was volunteering, handing out food to those in need, while Alex was there more out of obligation than interest. At first, he was just another rich man with a polished smile and a confident attitude, someone from a different world entirely. But there was something about Emily that caught his attention. Maybe it was her quiet kindness, or the way she treated everyone with respect, no matter their status. Maybe it was the strength she carried, even when life had tried to knock her down. For Emily, Alex was a glimpse of something she had never dared to hope for, a chance at a life beyond struggle, a life filled with possibilities she'd only dreamed of. She fell for him not just because of the luxury he could offer, but because for a moment, she believed someone like him could see her for who she truly was. But beneath her gentle smile, Emily carried a secret, one she had kept hidden from everyone, even Alex. A part of her past that didn't fit the story of the humble girl from the small town. She wasn't just the poor girl working hard to survive. There was more to her story, something powerful and unexpected, and she knew that when the time was right, she would have to reveal that secret. Because it was the key to everything, the reason she could never be truly broken by Alex's cruel words. After the sharp sting of Alex's cruel laughter, Emily felt something shift inside her. That night, as the guests continued their chatter and the music played on, she slipped away quietly to a small room off the main hall. Her hands trembled slightly as she pulled out a small worn box from her purse, the very ring Alex had mocked. She held it close, feeling the weight of its meaning far beyond its modest sparkle. This wasn't just a ring, it was a symbol of everything she had survived, everything she had fought for. And tonight, she decided, it was time to let the truth come out. The party was reaching its peak when Emily returned to the grand room. Alex was surrounded by his friends, laughing loudly, still basking in his sense of superiority. The guests were relaxed now, some dancing, others sipping champagne. Emily took a deep breath and asked for everyone's attention. The room quieted again, curious eyes turning toward her. "I want to tell you all something," she began, her voice steady despite the nervous flutter in her chest. Something about the ring Alex laughed at earlier. She held up the small silver band, letting the light catch its delicate surface. This ring belonged to my grandmother. She wore it through war, hardship and loss. It was the only thing she had left when she fled her home country. It's a family heirloom, passed down through generations. A hush fell over the room. The guests exchanged surprised glances, some looked at Emily with new respect, others whispered in disbelief. But that's not all, Emily continued, her eyes now locked on Alex's. There's more you don't know about me. I'm not just the girl from the small town you think I am. She took a step closer, her voice firm. My family isn't poor, they're powerful, people who built businesses, influenced communities, and helped shape this country. I left that life behind because I wanted to find my own path, to prove I didn't need wealth or status to be strong. Alex's face changed, his confident smile faltered, replaced by something darker, anger and shock. You hid this from me. He spat. Why, what game are you playing? Emily shook her head. No game, just truth. I wanted to be loved for who I am, not for what my family owns. She glanced around the room, and this ring. It's priceless to me, not because of diamonds or gold, but because of what it represents. Strength, survival, love passed down through generations. The guests began to murmur, many nodding in approval. Some looked at Alex with disdain, others with disbelief at his earlier cruelty. Alex's voice dropped, bitter and low. I laughed because I thought it was cheap. But it seems I was the one who was blind. Emily's heart swelled, not with anger, but with calm confidence. She had stood up to him, shown the world who she truly was, and in that moment, the power between them shifted. The rich man who mocked the ring had been humbled by the very thing he thought was worthless. Because some things like family, love, and truth are beyond price. The room was silent after Emily's revelation, the air thick with tension. Alex stood frozen, his pride shattered in front of everyone. The confident man who had laughed so cruelly now looked small and uncertain, as if the ground beneath him had cracked wide open. His world, built on wealth and status, suddenly seemed fragile and empty. For a moment, Alex tried to gather himself. He cleared his throat, and forced a tight smile, attempting to act as if nothing had changed. Well, he said stiffly. I suppose there's more to you than I thought, but his words rang hollow. The guests weren't fooled, whispers turned into conversations, and conversations into admiring glances toward Emily. She had stood up for herself with grace and courage. The same woman who had been mocked and humiliated now inspired respect and sympathy. People admired her strength, the way she didn't break under pressure, the way she held her head high even when the rich man tried to tear her down. Emily was no longer just the poor girl, or the charity case. She was someone real, someone with dignity and depth. Alex's anger began to show. Behind his forced calm, a storm brewed. He tried to reclaim his pride, to save face among his friends and family, but his words were empty echoes. The arrogance that had once made him untouchable now seemed like a fragile mask slipping off. He made awkward jokes, tried to change the subject, even whispered sharp remarks to a few guests. But no one took him seriously anymore. The damage was done, it was clear to everyone watching, wealth and status could not buy respect or true value. The night's events became a powerful lesson, one about humility, about how character means far more than money. Emily's secret had revealed the truth beneath the glittering surface. It showed that kindness, strength, and authenticity are the real treasures in life, and as Alex's world crumbled, Emily's grew brighter. She refused to let humiliation define her. Instead, she transformed pain into power. Her quiet dignity became her armor, protecting her from cruelty and lifting her above it. In the end, it wasn't the size of the diamond or the price of the ring that mattered, it was the heart behind it. The history, the love, the courage. Emily had won, not with wealth or status, but with something far more valuable, herself. After the evening's storm, Emily faced a choice that weighed heavily on her heart. Would she forgive Alex and give their relationship another chance? Would she walk away, refusing to be tied to someone who had mocked her so cruelly, or would she teach him a lesson he'd never forget? She thought about all the moments they had shared, the laughter, the hope, the dreams. But she also remembered the pain, the humiliation, and the arrogance that had so clearly blinded him. In the end, Emily chose strength and self-respect. She looked at Alex one last time, and said quietly, "I deserve someone who sees me for who I am, not just the surface, not the price tag, but the heart beneath it all." With that, she walked away, head held high, heart unbroken. Love, she realized, wasn't about rings or money. It was about respect, kindness, and true connection. Those things couldn't be bought, and they certainly couldn't be mocked. Emily's story is a powerful reminder for all of us. We live in a world that often judges people by what they have, by what they wear, or by the things they own. But true worth lies deeper, in character, in courage, and in the love we give and receive. Don't let anyone make you feel less than you are. Don't let the size of a ring or the price of a gift define your value. What matters most is what's inside, your kindness, your strength, your heart. To everyone watching, I want to say this. Look beyond the surface. Cherish the people who see you, respect you, and love you for who you truly are. If this story touched you, please like, comment, and share your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for listening to Emily's story. If it touched your heart or made you think, please take a moment to like this video and leave a comment sharing your thoughts or experiences. Don't forget to subscribe, so you won't miss the next powerful story we share. And if you know someone who needs a reminder about true value and strength, please share this video with them. Remember, everyone has a story worth hearing, including you. I'm grateful you chose to spend time here today.